going to sit here and eat crisps for the start of the stream. How are you, Christoph? How's life?
Life is good. Life is good. I'm trying to improve at this game. It's still tough, but something that Chris said last week resonated to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I asked him, how did you become good at poker? He said, by doing grade 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I don't know what he said, but it basically meant that.
Are we talking about Sam or Chris?
Chris, Sam, I'm not sure who is who, but the guy who was here last week.
Sam.
Sam. Yeah, actually, I don't know who Chris is. Anyway, when he said it, it didn't. I mean, I didn't realize anything, and then I don't know. On my run later on, I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, it's nice to study every single spot, etc. But what you've done for us by debunking the whole theory into concepts, and if we watch all the videos and get to all concepts, probably we can get to a level when we can solve most spots by just thinking about it very deeply every time. And if we do it that way, probably it will stick much better to our brain. And due to that, I told myself I need to stop playing 4 tables, go back to 2 tables, and think about it. That you're going to improve much more. Keep watching the video and stop caring about studying specific spots, etc. Which maybe you can do once you finished grade 3 and have all the concepts. But right now it feels like not the right way, at least for me. I think I remember things much better once if I understand the whole logic and the whole theories behind it. And you've done the work, so why should I do it when you feed it to me in a feed is maybe not the right word, but in a concrete way, like you've analyzed the solver to get the concepts out of it. And yes, due to that, I said I need to move down to 2 tables. And because my brain being fucked up, I couldn't move down to 2 tables on NL25, and I went to NL50. So that's where we ended. Why we ended up shooting NL50. Not because my results were great, but because my brain is fucked up.
Well, I'm a proponent of aggressive shot taking bankroll management, like not aggressive bankroll management where you end up broke, but aggressive investment strategy bankroll management. Like I always say, if I have a serious student who's going to be good one day, like you're already getting quite good, but you're definitely gonna be very good one day, I always say to them, like, just put the money in your roll. Like, you've already spent, if you've spent 1,300 on the golden carrot, you got it on a discount or a sale. If you spent 1,600 on it, if you didn't, like, and you're willing to invest in like a serious like dose of poker education, embark 25, by the way, guys, that code gets you 25% off right now at carrotcorner.com. You can pretty much just throw another 1,000 into, if you can afford it, you can throw some amount of money into a bankroll, forget about the money, play a bit higher in a game that's a bit tougher. And as long as you're not hemorrhaging, like as long as you're somewhere around break even pre-rake back, you can still build a roll with rake back. It doesn't matter if you're not beating 25 in L pre-rake back right now, because you're kind of break even pre-rake back and you're earning from break back, you've made a few K from break back already. There's nothing wrong with like saying, okay, I'll play a bit of 50. Like I'll probably be close to break even there. I'll get more rake back. I'll probably still be profitable post rake back. And then I'll challenge myself in that tougher game. And yeah, I'm always a proponent of like playing as high as you can survive, and not like trying to ladder your way up and win pre-rake back all the way from 2NL. Like there's just no reason to try to do that. I wouldn't say. Like what matters is the end goal. And yeah, I think you can settle at this stake. I think you can win at this stake, and I think you're going to be fine. So let's make this your focused 2-table stake that you play. And with 4-tabling, I would say you should do it sometimes. Ultimately, you want to be a 4-tabler one day when your game's stronger, and building up the mental muscle of being able to 4-table and make decent decisions. You won't be as good as when you're 2-tabling, but to be able to accept that you are 4-tabling and it's currently your 4-table game that's present, and not hold yourself to the standards of your 2-table game, I think that's really key. Because boy, who are you to think you can play as well with double the tables, huh? Yeah, how about that, huh?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll try to really stick to two tables for a while because I also feel that it's impacting my progression. I just don't think as much, and when you don't think, your
Yep.
brain gets lazy and
Yep.
you don't get in as much.
Which is why you can't play four tables all the time at this point in your career. It's not viable, but you want to build the muscle of being able to do it. So yeah, have different training regimes, different play regimes. Poker coaching is like training an athlete. You know, these days when I'm coaching someone, I'll be like, right, February, we're going to grind 80k hands. You're going to sit, you're going to play so much volume. January, we're going to like get your four table game. We're going to do a few sweat sessions. We can get your four table game as good as we can. We're going to go do that volume. Then in March, we're going to distill what happened. We're going to analyze where your biggest leaks were, where we can improve the next time we do the big grind. And we're going to go back to two table focus sessions for March. Then in April, bam, 85k hands, let's go. Like, this is how I train a professional or aspiring professional poker player now. I don't just go, okay, just play like whatever the hell your normal session is and we'll just do that forever, because it might not be right and there's different types of technique. And I've learned that more and more throughout the years. So yeah, play four tables, then play two, and work on different things at different times, and don't neglect any of your needs.
A few questions in the chat. One regarding my bankroll. I started with, I think, was it in April, beginning of April, I put 600, I think. And now I'm at 3,600.
Yeah, so via rakeback, you've accumulated a bankroll that is okay to be playing a bit of 50 NL. It's over 60 buy-ins. I'm fine with it. I don't have an issue with it at all. No.
Yeah.
Fat King Louis on Twitch asked, does Christoph want to make a living from poker? If not, why would he for table Russian cash? And I think the idea is that it might not be the case that someone wants to make a living, but even if they want it as a serious side hustle or income or a serious hobby that generates profit, you'd still want to be able to max out income. And four tables is really engaging. It's really fun as well. A lot of people enjoy that kind of grind. So I do think becoming a four table player one day, or at least someone that can four table and can do that, is a really good skill. And I don't think it's viable to only ever be a two tabler. Maybe it is viable actually if you're just playing high win rate and you really like that. Maybe it's viable, but I think the skill of being a four tabler, if you do it right, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing this. If you do it the wrong way and you just become a zombie and you play four tables and you never get good at it and you just like become an autopilot button clicker, you know, mush for brains kind of poker player, you're going to go nowhere, man. You're going to go absolutely nowhere. But if you get your four table game up to like a C plus grade or a B minus grade instead of a D grade, then that's really good. It's really profitable. You're playing twice the hands. If you're winning a player, you're doubling your hands per hour. And a lot of people's four table game is worse than their two table game, but it's not twice as bad. The win rate's not half, right? Okay, let's get into some spots. Let's do this. So how did you find 50 NL? Any differences player pool wise?
So I've listened to so many podcasts and experts saying one of the biggest mistakes they made was to overplay when they move the stakes when actually there is no difference. So I really tried to not think about it and play exactly the same, which I think I managed to do. And to be fair, I didn't see any difference. So yeah,
Yeah,
it felt exactly the same.
I think it is very close to exactly the same. The differences are subtle and they're more just like their regs make a few less glaring mistakes. That's not something you're going to like notice right away. So you just get a little bit less in the way of gifts. Like I had a hand the other day when I was recording where I just 4-bet aces button small blind and the guy jammed 160 deep with sevens. And I was just like, thanks. And at 50 NL, this was 100 NL hand, but at 50 NL, that will just happen less often than it will at 25, but you won't notice the fact that it happens, you know, I don't know, 3 times every month rather than 4. Like you won't notice that, but that's the kind of differences that you're going to see. So we have King Jack.
Wait, before we start, I have a question that is very specific to Russian cash, but I remember a spot that I had and I had no clue what to do. It was one of these splash pots, and someone opened all in with, I don't know with what. I think it was in hijack, and I was in a small blind with ace jack suited,
Mhm.
and I had no clue what to do.
Okay. What was the open size?
100 big blinds.
100 big blinds. I mean, there are people that run rampaging tilt where you can call that hand. You do have a few people, you have one uncapped range behind you, but generally I would call something like ace king suited, queens plus in that spot if I didn't know anything.
Okay. So I really thought about it. I think I called, and the guy had ace 10 of suit, so that was good, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no clue.
I think generally, like, if they have a 54 VPIP, you can call these hands and you can say this guy's just some rampaging tilt monkey. But when you don't know, they'll very often just have like jacks or something, and that'll be like, or ace king, and you're just taking the worst of it against ace king and jacks. And these are the most common hands that actually do this because they don't want to see a flop. You rarely see aces do this, but it's usually like queens, kings, jacks, ace king.
Okay. I just feel like every single splash pot, it goes all in pre-flop. So I think
Sorry, this was a splash pot. I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then in that case, I don't know, for some reason I thought this was like at your live game. I missed you saying that. Then in that case, yeah, ace jack suited is probably like borderline okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. I've turned off your cards. Oh no. Spoilers. Spoilers.
You're discovering this software.
God, I've used this for like 15 years. You would think I'd be good at it by now. Right, so we're in the big blind with king jack, and it goes open, and we call. So first question, thoughts on 3-betting versus calling here?
I think that when I'm on a big blind, I tend to call. I actually don't really know what I would 3-bet some aces suited aces, but not really king jack. I'm not really sure why I do it without really thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I do. Raising didn't cross my mind here.
Okay.
It would cross my mind maybe against. Actually, I have done it. I think a couple of times against button open, and
Mm-hmm.
then I checked, and I checked GTO, but not really understanding why, and it said it's not really a great hand to 3-bet if I remember correctly. So I like king suited. I tend not to when I'm not in position.
Okay. What I'd do is I'd say have a look at pre-flop charts, like maybe just for 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day, just before, like, do that for a month or 2 months, and gradually your brain will just learn exactly where like the ranges are, at which hands are 3-bettable, which ones are mixes, which ones are calls. That gives you a baseline, and then the only thing to add to that is like some kind of exploitative leaning. For example, what am I going to do against pool in the spots where I have mixes? Like, which way am I going to lean? And here, I don't think there's much of a leaning. Like, I don't think in position, big blind, out of position, sorry, big blind under the gun, there's really much to exploit. I think people defend relatively okay, and I don't think they have massive leaks when they defend under the gun and play 3-bet pots relative to other spots. But when you're in position with 3-bets, people are overfolding, under 4-betting, folding too much post flop, and I would definitely lean towards 3-betting in those spots. But know where the baselines are, just so you can be more proficient in finding the right line against pool. I was going to check in Wizard to see what the frequency for 3-betting this is, but it seems to be down or something. I just can't get onto Wizard.
Let me try.
But hands like this, Queen Jack suited, Jack 10 suited, King 10 suited, you can 3-bet them against under the gun usually, because villain folds some hands that dominate you here, like King Queen off and Ace Jack off and stuff like that, and you're going to survive well when called. So I think you can go either way with this.
Okay, so I just checked, and it's I don't know. It's not shown, but like it's something like 5 to 10% 3-bet.
Yeah, it's fine. You can do it, but you don't have a large amount of 3-bet in this spot with these mixes usually against UTG. I don't know why I can't get into Wizard.
Because you didn't pay enough. They want more.
I literally won't even load.
It's okay, I've got it. Okay.
Okay, so flop checks through. We go for low turn probe here. Just talk to me about your thinking in the turn probe node.
So I think the run out so far is more it's better for my range. I think I have little showdown value. I have some good redraws. It just felt right. Didn't go
Yeah.
further than that.
Yeah, so this is the sort of board where in theory you want to be probing at a small sizing and quite frequently because 10-9-7 you hit it a lot, you have a vulnerable pair a lot, villain has two overcards that whiffed a lot. I think small is fine here. I think you can also build in an overbet if you want as well. And the reason I might consider that is that when you're playing small stakes and micro stakes, there's just not going to be a lot of aggression in the lines where you go like block. There's not going to be that much raising. People aren't going to really play back at you a lot. So if you did have a nutted hand here, you might consider just going bigger, especially against a recreational. But in general, in this spot, people are very underprotected. They're overfolding this node. It's a bit blood from a stone. When you have Jack 8 here, it's kind of blood from a stone anyway. So I don't actually mind the small bet on a texture like this. I think it's hard to go like overbet and do really well. But I think overbet bluff functions like extremely well. Like on this board, I think the fold equity is like through the roof here. So I think what you could do is locate in a solver the bottom of the like what are the worst, most dead looking hands you're allowed to probe big here, and they're probably like Jack X and stuff like that, right? And then go ahead and always probe those big as a default hack strategy. Like exploitative hack strategy is one you can just like repeat ad infinitum and print money with it, right? So if you learn that King Jack is a hand that could overbet, the soft exploit is where you take a hand that does X at a certain frequency and you always do X because you think X is right. The soft exploit there is to always overbet King Jack of Hearts. And then you might even find some hard exploits here. You might find a hand that's just outside the big probe range and you might decide to big probe that as well. So just food for thought, like how could you craft a game plan that punishes the tendency for them to be underprotected and overfold here? And I think the answer is probe small with trash, even if you're not meant to. Probe really big with equity. And with your value, it'll be a bit blood from a stone, but just bet and hope that you get called a couple of times. So you want to build game plans for common spots like this that are theoretically based, have soft exploits where you take pure actions, and maybe even a few hard exploits if you think it's a really great spot where you take hands that don't do X and you do X with them. But that needs research and confidence, right? The soft exploits more, it's a bit safer and easier to implement because you're just taking a mix anyway and just ramping up the frequency to 100 for what you think the best line is.
Okay.
How long is the stream running today? Till about 10 past 11, about an hour from now, something like that. Right. So villain calls. Thoughts on river, please.
I'm scared. I'm gonna check fold.
Come on.
These are my thoughts.
You're not gonna check here. You're gonna bet here. I knew it. I knew you were full of shit. I knew you were gonna bet.
I don't know where. I mean, the run out is really good for me, and also sometimes they will call an ace with small probe bet. So
Yep.
it feels like my range is doing much better than his, and I guess that's why I bet.
Yep, so I think this is a mandatory bluff spot. The run out's really great for big blind, especially when it's under the gun big blind, because the earlier position your opponent, the less like 8x they have. If they're button, they have a disadvantage in the 8x region, but not by as much as under the gun does. And under the gun should have, like, in theory, like aces sometimes. Under the gun doesn't actually bet. If they're playing a big bet strategy on flop, they don't actually bet aces very often from under the gun. They bet it much more from button because it's worth more EV when they're button because their overall range is wider. So here villains should have aces, they should have a 10, they should have all these hands, but they should also just have like 5s, 4s, king queen, king jack, ace queen, ace king should fold turn because it's so connected even to B33. But they won't always do that. Like, because the turn is so connected, villains calling you range should be mostly around pairs and redraw. if it was like 10-3 deuce deuce, yeah, ace king's never folding turn, but on 10-9-7, ace king, ace queen should just be pitching turn. But they won't. They'll get to this river, and this river bet's not only theoretically fine, and this makes sense for your value region. I think overbet also makes sense for your value region, because I don't think villain has enough 8 from under the gun that you can't overbet here. But in any case, whatever sizing you use will get more clout than it needs. It'll get more fold equity than it needs to break even. That's in theory, so theoretically mandatory. And then in practice, I think there's even more. So I think checking this river would have been a really big mistake, and I'm glad that you didn't. Yeah, you run into sort of top of range. Good for villain, you know, like finding a check back that's a normal check back. You'll see that a bit more at 50, but you'll still not see it enough. But yeah, well played hand from both of you.
Okay. I'm glad we're starting with a fine hand.
Yeah, yes. I love the way you played it. I think it's great. I think it's really solid. Chat's liking it. Chat's like,
Christoph is such a good player. Yes, we likes Christoph, yes.
That's what they're saying.
I think I might have called this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously nothing wrong with this theoretically. The question here is like, is getting lots of money in against this stack just worth more than like playing multi-way? And I think the answer is yes. Like 9s can 3-bet anyway, in theory it's a mix. So the soft exploit is, oh wait, this guy's gonna like get in 31 big blinds with deuces, so now you just have to 3-bet 9s, right? And hope you don't run into the 4-bet line, I think. Don't like this call. I'm gonna give you a 2 out of 10 for this hand so far.
That's fine.
You lead the flop. I actually quite like this. You stop it checking through. This player will check a lot here. This player will call hands that they would have checked, like king, queen. I think this is fine. You get denial. I like this flop bet. You redeemed yourself a bit here. I actually really like this.
we go back up to 3 out of 10.
3.5 out of 10, you're at.
This one's fair.
Turn check is pretty egregious, though. I'm going to give you 1.4 out of 10 now for this hand.
Fuck.
Well, the thing on the turn is, like, spade is not a big part of some random limp caller's range. They have worse pairs. They have a 3, they have ace high, they have ace 5, they have 5-6, they have 7-5. They have all these hands, right? And you just want to bet the turn, because you're not going to check fold here, and you'd much rather put money in by betting half pot yourself than by check calling their bet, right?
Yeah, okay.
So you've got to bet turn here. Like, your hand gets thinner, and that means you don't bomb it, but it doesn't mean that you check. There's a big leap between this got worse for me and I check. So be hesitant to vault across that chasm where you bypass the small bet entirely and just end up checking because you don't like a card.
I guess some part of me, it's not a good excuse. I still agree with everything you said, but I felt like the villain will be very, how do you say, open, like a
Face up.
open book, face up, given what he does. And I clearly, when I saw his stack, I thought he's very likely to be a fish, so I'm gonna know. If he bets big, probably has me beaten. If he bets small, probably I beat him. That was as simple as that in my head.
Yeah, there's a few problems with that. One is it's just not sufficient. It doesn't preside over enough of the EV in the game tree to be a sufficient reason. The other problem with it is that you don't know, like, a lot of these random 29 big blinds, they just wait for a green light. Like the guy called King Jack on the flop, and then you check and he just presses the big bet button and decides to bluff, and he's on tilt, he's been losing. You just don't know that with that much certainty. I don't think it's that transparent a spot, actually, because the shorter their stack, the more volatile they're likely to be, and that volatility actually reduces transparency. It reduces the face-upness, if you will. So, what are we saying? Demi Rugen says about the last hand, love the small bet in the turn when I have range advantage and overbet river if the board continues favor for me. Yeah, it's that's solid poker right there. It's fine. Cydrus says definitely squeeze 9-9. I agree. Cydrus is gonna go through his day now, like, gonna go downstairs, start making breakfast. His wife's like, yo, what are you so happy about? Because we said that he was right. No, he's just happy. Not everyone that's happy is insane.
I'm talking about you.
No, I'm just happy. Come on, man.
Oh, okay, good.
I used to get really insane in streams. Like, people will tell you back in the day when I'd stream for like hours on end, I used to go absolutely bonkers.
I remember that hand.
Right, so River, what should you do here? Like, the jack is kind of a brick, right? He's checked back turn. You just said that you're going to get transparency, and he's just checked back turn. So you've got some amount of transparency there. So what's your landing equity on river? How much equity are you landing with? Tell me exactly the percentage of equity you have against this range.
72.5%.
Love it. So let's B40 or something, yeah?
Okay.
Carrot Poker School, grade 1. Tiers of hand by equity and corresponding permissible value bet sizes. Grade 1, lecture 2. Go watch it if you have the Carrot Poker School. Don't have the Carrot Poker School. What are you playing at? But code EMBARK25 will get you some money off our products. Okay, I don't know what villain's doing now, but I will call. I don't really care. You can just show me his random hand. Yeah, okay.
He wasn't folding turn. I saved some money.
Help me today. Okay, chat, give Christoph a score for that hand. I'll see if I agree. Give him a score out of 10. Fingers on the
Fuck
keypads.
you.
I want you guys to give him scores all day today. We're going to hold him to account. He's playing 50 now. He's a big boy. We're going to hold him to account. Go on, chat. Out of 10, what are we giving this hand? There are 43 of you watching on YouTube and some of you watching on Twitch. So you have to come out the woodwork now and give him a score. 4 out of 10. That's so generous, Citrus. Come on.
Yeah, I got a 2.5, so that's fine.
2.5 is close. 2.6, yeah. That's strong 2 out of 10. Yeah, I'd say it's about there. Yeah, okay, cool.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You can take it, though. As my bridge partner says when I critique him, he says, I'm big and ugly enough to take it. One of them. That's not the one you've met, by the way.
I'm just looking at the grades. Okay, let's move on. Let's see if I can do better on the next one.
Let's see if you can do better. Yeah, we'll score this one, guys.
What am I doing? Oh, okay, I'm tilted here. I should fold this. I don't know why this
let's
hand...
give Christoph an extra 3 out of 10 head start because he was tilted when he played this hand. So you're on 3 out of 10 already? No, we're just kidding. We don't do that.
No, but I guess I'm gonna open this one and I shouldn't. So...
Easy Street Poker, you would have got a 0.1 out of 10 if you were playing that hand on Gauntlet because folding river there is pretty egregious, I would say, against a random for half pot. They can just have stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't give them any credit. You need to win 25%. I like that we didn't fold river. 4s, min open, call. They're still rooting for you, says Chirpy Hop.
Fuck. I hate this one. This one looks bad. Come on, please let me...
Big turn lead. Oh, big turn lead. What are we thinking here? I hope you fold too. I think your draw is often dead, low implied odds, very little showdown. Like, not enough good things can happen here. I think you definitely need to fold now. You have like literally the worst hand ever. We fold.
Yes.
I mean, what are we scoring this, guys? By the way scoring works on Gauntlet, and this is similar, is you don't give people 10s because they opened Jack 9 on the button. You don't do that. You give them a score that reflects the difficulty of the hand. It's like gymnastics. You attempt a forward roll, you don't get a 10. So anyone that says 10 out of 10 doesn't understand the scoring system. Akshar, shame on you. You should know how the scoring system works.
Akshar is a nice guy. You see the difference between a nice guy and you, Pete.
Yeah, perfectly fine. 6.57, yeah. Was it a loose open? It's a break-even open, and you're playing in a game with probably fish, and you can make 3 of a kind, so I don't mind it. Okay. Okay, so far so good, guys. Let's score this one. 696. Villain bets half pot, and we raise the flop with the King Jack of Diamonds. Oof. What are you thinking here? What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking that they're probably gonna see bet way more than they should. They probably are ahead. They probably have a lot of free draws. It's only bad if they come back at me, but which I will do with, I don't know, maybe queen plus, and not always with queen, knowing how they are. So, and I'm gonna make fold a lot of hands that have me beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like doing that.
So my main criticism here is you haven't compared raise with call. Like, all of your arguments for raise might also be good arguments for call, because remember, you're going to be able to call any turn. You have a ton of redraw and equity, and you're in position, and pool's not that aggressive in a triple line on boards like this and spots like this. So like, you will just get to see whether you get there. You'll have high implied odds when you get there. When you don't get there and they check, you'll have a really winning bluff. I think call is just really, really good here too, and probably better.
There is just one thing, is that my hand, I think I have also a lot of reverse implied odds if a king or a jack come. It doesn't, it's just how I feel. I feel if a jack comes, turn on river, I might, or on river, let's say a brick, and then a jack or a king on the river. Am I folding now? Yes, maybe. But
okay, firstly, that has nothing to do with your EV on the flop, because if you are folding, you'd be exploiting the hell out of pool, and you'd be like really punishing them for under bluffing, and you would actually have edge on that line if it was right to fold. And if you weren't folding, you'd just be doing a normal like call down. So I don't actually think that reverse implied odds is a thing in that context. You might say I make calls where it's exploitatively better to fold, but then you're just missing out on an exploit. You're not doing anything like really egregious by calling the river there. So I don't think reverse implied odds is a great way of looking at it. And it's just such a specific, far away strand of a twig on the end of a branch. I just wouldn't worry about it.
I don't think it's that specific.
It's really specific because you have to have called the flop, then the pot hasn't ended on the turn, and then the river has to be a king or a jack. Like, it's not most of the game tree.
I'm not saying it's most of the game tree, but I think we're talking, you said you need to have called the flop. I'm going to call the flop. That's what we're discussing about. We're talking about this option. So first of all, we're getting down that tree if we call.
Fair enough.
And then you just said it yourself, we're never folding on the turn. So yes, it might go check, bet, fold, but apart from that, we're going to see a river. And now a king or a jack to come, it's a reasonable part of the tree. I don't think it's a tiny part of the tree.
It's a small part of the tree, but okay. It's somewhere. I didn't mean to say it was yeah, obviously it's not most of the tree. That's obvious, but it's okay. It's kind of the sort of thing where, like, most of your EV from the decision of whether to call the flop or raise the flop is going to come from edges you get later on in the game tree, compared with edges you get immediately by raising. Raising immediately, I do agree that people are over investing here for half pot, but I think most of the gain from raising flop against that, which is like you raise and they fold, also comes later too, because this pool's not hyper aggressive in a 3-bet pot, and when they check the turn, you're going to have absolutely troves of fold equity. You're going to have way more fold equity than you have in equilibrium, and in equilibrium you still have loads of fold equity. So I just think that most of the benefits of raising flop also exist on the branch where you call. And I know that in theory, you're not really meant to do much raising here, and this hand just doesn't raise in theory. So I just wouldn't make a hard exploit of raising this hand when I can gain all the same stuff by calling against the villain's looseness as I do by raising. Also, like, yes, when the run out is something jack or something king and you face a triple, you get stacked sometimes. You also get bluffed sometimes there, and you can call down. And I think you just have a really big hand on that run out, like on a king river where he goes bet, you call, you river a king. You just have a really big hand. You block the hell out of the value. It's going to be a really bluffed spot. Like, even 50 NL players know to bluff the king river when they've been barreling. You just have to call. You're not going to be folding there, to be honest, unless you know your opponent's a huge net. And getting sacked is part and parcel of the game. So I think it's more pertinent to you that there's a way you can get stacked here, and I feel like you're scanning for that prospect, and I think it's just not a big part. It's not relevant to EV, right? Even if it does happen sometimes, I just don't think it's relevant to the EV of the decision of whether you call flop or raise flop.
Okay.
I actually think you'll have a lot of skill edge as well, just in position in a 3-bet pot. People are going to be really face up. I just think they're going to tell you on the river when they have a medium hand, you'll be able to like upsize like your value bet on the jack river a lot of the time. There's positive sides to this too, right? So it's kind of, I would learn the baseline though, which is against bigger sizing on paired boards and position in 3-bet pot. You just don't really raise these textures because villain has a giant nut advantage on a paired board, and your overcards can't even river 2-pair to beat aces or anything like that, right? So you just have even less redraw. So your range is mainly playing call here, if not exclusively playing call here. And so I'd start with that as my default. And then if you want to raise, you want to find an argument that raising is better than calling, that there are gains with the raise line that don't exist with the call line, right? In order to sort of like choose between those. That's how I try to think about it.
Okay.
Stevie Weevy Woo, what is going on? It is indeed Christoph Grosset. Am I pronouncing your name right? I always feel like I get it wrong.
You do get it wrong. I'm gonna give you 1 out of 10 on that one.
This is the great Steve Rain in the chat here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Steve.
Bridge players hanging out on a poker stream. Good times. Aksha says, if we want to play exploit raises, it's fine, but we choose low equity. His point being reopening with King Jack and facing the jam is worse for you. It's a worse branch for you when villain has queens or something than just calling and navigating, right? Calling and navigating is far better when villain has top of range here. They won't barrel turn with random hands, so we can bluff with great efficiency. Already said that, Aksha. God. Already said that. So we raise the flop, which I'm going to give you a small minus for. I don't think it's a disaster, but I don't think it's the best line. And now I think you have to just call here. I don't think you can do anything else. Yep. Get there. Nice.
But indeed, what he did proves that I was completely wrong, because I didn't expect him to shove with jacks, which is, I think, the right play. But I didn't think they would do it, so I was wrong.
Well, you might be right that they I think you're right that they under 3-bet the overpairs here. I don't think they find the right frequency of jamming them, which does make raise slightly better than it would be in equilibrium. I just think call is way better than it is in equilibrium with all the skill advantage and transparency you're going to get. So I think the EV of call is going to shoot up much more human versus human here with your skill edge than the EV of raises. Put it that way.
Okay.
Chat, what we giving him? Steve, what are you going to give Christoph? What are you going to give your fellow bridge contemporary for his poker play here? Because I know you used to be a poker player, Steve. So what do you think? Maybe the games have changed a bit since your day, but yeah.
Insanely bad. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the support.
The poker community is so toxic. Look at Easy Street Poker. He's gone absolutely ballistic on you, Christoph. He's furious at you. He's furious. He's like, you don't deserve to play the game. Why is that a call to the turn 3-bet? Do you mean the flop 3-bet? We have too much equity, right? We have too much redraw. My villain can have 10s and stuff. We're getting some odds. We're getting something to 1. That's more than we need. 2 to 1. I mean, 33%. Come on. 5 out of 10. Okay. 7.2.
Maybe if we wait more, I'll go up to 10.
I don't think this hand's a disaster. I mean, I'm going to give you a 4 because I think you messed it up on the flop a bit. But like, you can't really score more than a 4 when you had a completely obvious pre-flop decision. And then like you only had one node where you could make a decision, and then you did like the inferior thing. But then again, you didn't like fold to the 3-bet, so that's something. I'll give you a 4.2. Right.
Okay.
Moving on. Demi Rugen says, if you call, you can let them barrel ace king like hands as a bluff and raise on turn instead, which also gets more fold equity from aces. It's a few different points. I think like maybe that's just part of the transparency thing. I don't think getting fold equity from aces in a 3-bet pot at 50 NL is really a very good idea. 100 big blinds deep. I think that's not something that happens too much. If I had 2 drinks in me, I do this play. Probably play sober then.
Sorry, Easy Street Poker. I ruined your day.
Bless your hearts, I'm out this shit stream. I love you guys. I want good things for you, but you're shit. Yeah, coherent, bro. Well done. Have a nice day.
What happened? I didn't see. Did I re-raise?
We 3-bet. Small blind versus button.
Okay.
Ace Jack. Small. Can't really fault it so far. Check and face half pot. All right, chat. What are you thinking here? Good stuff. What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking. What am I thinking? I'm thinking that aces are the cards he has the most. I think if he has like a pocket pair, he should fold to it a lot on the flop. I think that except if he has clubs, I'm likely to be drawing either dead or very thin. So if he floated and bluffed, well played, but I feel I should get out of there.
Yeah, I like fold. I think like they have an abundance of ace-x on this node. Value range is very, very broad. Bluffs are few and far between. You block a bunch of the combos that do exist that could bluff here. A lot of the chat's going to want to call here. And the reason for that is that they don't deserve to play the game.
Maybe I called. Maybe I don't deserve. I don't remember. That's when I realized how bad I am at poker, is that I don't remember the hands.
I'm like that. I'm like that, Bridge. It's only recently that I've been able to like lie in bed at night and be like, okay, and tell my wife. So I had 6 to the ace queen jack, 3 small stiff king. This happens. I didn't used to be able to do that at all. So yeah, I get it. The better you get, the more you'll be able to do that. Let's see what you did. You folded. Great fold. Love this fold. I think this fold is really, really good. And this hand is just like indifferent. There's no way in theory this is even making much, if any, EV. And people are going to be under bluffing here because they've already filtered on flop. This is a fantastic fold. I love it. Really, really good.
Good rating on this one?
I'm giving you an 8.5 for this one. I think this is a great hand.
That's great.
On like face value, this looks like a call. And I think this is like a midwit meme spot where like the beginner is like, oh my god, he has an ace fold. And then the midwit's like, can't fold second pair to 1. And then the expert's like, yeah, his value range is too broad. He doesn't have enough bluffs fold. So I think there's so many midwit spots in poker. So many. If you guys don't know that meme, look up midwit meme. It applies to so many hands in this game. I don't think you do have too much equity to fold, John. My point is that you don't have enough equity. My point is that you do not have 25% pot share EV in the spot. You're not going to realize a quarter of the pot when you call here. Sometimes you call and have the best hand, you still don't win because they get there or they bluff river as well, right? And when they have an ace, you're literally just dead to a jack. So I don't think you do have enough equity to call. The whole argument is, in fact, that you don't have enough equity to call based on that hand reading. I think it's a minus EV call now. Yeah. Nat asked earlier, how do you guys know the EV? We don't. We're just estimating. We're just using our experience. We're hand reading. We're looking at things like pot odds. We're looking at equity, implied odds. We're just combining all the facets of poker to try to figure out like how well we're doing and then comparing that to our odds and seeing if we can continue in a spot like this. The thing about poker though is you need a different thought process for loads of different types of spots, right? Which can be the hard part. What are we giving Christoph? I'm giving him 8.5, guys. I'm giving him 8.5 for that one.
I'll take it.
Twitch chat, Uwomi says, can you range bet 20-25% on that flop? Yeah, if you want. Sharpie Hop says, I'm a midwit. I think we're all midwits to some extent, right? Oh, you thought he was talking about the King Jack hand. I'm with you, John. I'm with you. Right. Pocket potatoes. Open UTG. Big blind calls. Flop a potato on the flop. It's 3 potatoes now. Tres tatties. No, Tres is 13. Big bet. Why is your webcam so blurry? Like, are you that ashamed by your play that you're trying to distort yourself?
It's because it's shit.
Oh. There you go.
But oh, it's Chris the Lamb, right? I'm just joking.
Sam the Lamb. Yeah, you'll love this turn fold, Sam. 3-bet pot, c-bet small, check, half pot, fold. I think you'll love that turn fold. I think it's right up your street. Big bet. It's fine here. I see you've ditched my B200 check paradigm.
Yes.
Fair.
It's too complicated for me. Now that I'm saying that because now that I'm watching really great too intensively, I'm trying to stick to it. Otherwise, it's too many different
No,
things.
totally. That's fair. And we go for jam, right? What do you think villain's range is on flop here?
I was thinking about that. I think he either have a bluff, in which case probably it's better to call. Just thinking the flop is better for his range, and against bets they would raise a lot. But given that I made a big bet, I think it's less often the case. They like to raise as bluff when you bet a third or let's say a half or less. But actually that's my case, so I kind of projecting what I do. But so and the other hands are a set, and if they have a set, I think we're gonna put all the money anyway. And they can have a draw, and if they have a draw, I know they struggle to fold, especially if they have 2 other cards or a combo draw or whatever. So I thought when I put everything in the balance, I like jamming now.
Yeah, I think jam has a lot going for it that a lot of people wouldn't see. The resistance against jam that's natural for a human here is I will make them fold more. Like, I'm not going to get paid. I'm going to scare them off. But I do agree that, like, they're very polarized with this raise size overall compared to if you'd bet small on flop. That said, I do think some weaker players here will have, like, jacks or ace 10 sometimes, but you also block top pair so heavily that, you know, if that's a hand that's sensitive to sizing, if top pair is a hand that it is better to go, like, I don't know, 40 against, and we block that, we remove it almost entirely, then all the more power for shoving this hand. I don't know. It's interesting. I definitely wouldn't call here. I think call is wrong because I think this is a very underbluffed, high equity raise. I think you're coolering the opponent one way or another here very often at these stakes when you face this after you big bet flop. I definitely would 3-bet flop. I'm just toying between like 43. Like, if you make it 43, I think they're also just going to stick their flush draw in a lot of the time, right? So you might be able to, whenever you can find an equivalent line on one part of the tree, it frees you up to compare it on another part of the tree. So if you can say, actually, if I make it 40 here, he's also very likely to get in his flush draws. Well, now you've neutralized the gain of shoving against the flush draw, right? You no longer really need to care about that. So then it frees you up to say, are there other hands in villain's range that it's better to go 40 against? And I'm thinking if villain has like 8-9 or something like that, it's a bit better. They might shove that over 40 or shove that over 36, but never call that if you shove. So all in all, I think maybe there's a case for just like 3-betting a bit smaller here, but I think you've got the right idea, and I don't want to fault you too much for your logic because I think you're doing the right sort of thing here.
Okay. And just if I raise to, I don't know, 40, he calls and comes a jack of club and shoves, I have to call, right?
Yeah, because he's going to shove his sets out of low SPR madness. He's going to, you're live, you know, you've like 20-something% against 20-ish% against flushes. Like, you definitely have to call.
Okay.
I think 34 to 37 is good. Yeah, something like that. I think jam does have some things going for it. Like, sometimes the guy has jacks and he'll just call the jam, but like would have, you know, called and folded turn. That's unlikely, actually. Most of the guys that call.
It depends on. I mean, I guess if an ace comes and he has jacks or a king, it's better to jam.
Yeah. There are action killers. I mean, I think like the biggest mistake that most people at your stakes make here is that they slow play this node. They actually call this node, and that's hugely costly when you have a high equity kind of range. When villain has a high equity range here, and you're just like fold equity is very low for big 3-bets on your part, you need to make a big 3-bet. So yeah, I'd give a high score, John. I think 8.5. John, are you the guy that used to be Johnny? Because you sound like Johnny and you were around at the same time of day, and like, because I remember like a 200 plus coach used to frequent this called Johnny. I'm just checking if that's you. Maybe it's not. Good hand.
And you didn't show the villain's hand, people are gonna hate it. I think I remember, but I think he had 2 other cards with clubs, but
Tune in next week to find out. Yeah, the combo draw.
oh,
Yep.
8-9 of clubs, yeah.
Nice. So if you could see his cards, you would just want to shove the flop.
Yeah, but the equity was really close. It's like, I think it was like 45% for him.
Sure, with this hand, that's true, but yeah, there's like against King Queen of clubs, it's better, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's still good to get it in. There's nothing wrong with getting in a stack at 55% equity. It's fine. Okay, so call the 3-bet. We'll fine here. Out of position, like I say, I don't feel strongly about exploits as much about playing the 3-bet pot. Actually, loves to play as well. 9 out of 10. There you go. Carrot Corner coach is approving.
I'm not sure about that one, but yeah.
My dog needs to really be quiet now. This is getting out of control.
We can't hear it.
I can now, and it's tilting me. Ask my wife to deal with him. Okay, double gutter. What are your thoughts here?
My thoughts are that imply odds probably makes it that it's worth calling.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's a fold. I think you need to choose between call and raise. Raises without any hearts or spades, you're not going to have a ton of fold equity. Sometimes they will shove on you just for the hell of it because it's double flush draw when they're not meant to. I don't love this spot for raise. Yeah, I think call's probably the best line. Just take the implied odds line, try and get a check jamming on a queen or 9 river. Yeah, because on a queen river they'll have a lot of like ace queen and things like that. On a 9 river, they're probably still going to value bet sets and ace king. I think there's enough implied here that this is good, and I think you'll win. There's a branch where you win, right? Because they can have 5-6, 10-9, and give up river as well. So you actually win with jack high sometimes. So call is right. Good. Yeah, great hand. Great hand by you. Not much you can do better here, I don't think. It feels weak, but it's right.
Okay. Not 3 outs.
No,
8 outs.
try 8 outs, yeah. Double gutter, right? 4 9s, 4 queens.
I mean,
8.
8 and 8 are pure. 6 outs are pure, and 2 outs are a bit less pure.
Even the flush draw outs are still good most of the time, right? Like you don't want to
Yes.
scorched earth those because like yeah, they're a bit tainted.
No, but the implied odds are a bit less, and there might be some
Sure.
reverse implied odds.
Sure. Yeah, it's not as good as normal. Like if this was rainbow, the call and the turn's really plus EV, but it's still winning, I think. Continue on flop with the gutter, no flush draw or backdoor. Yes, absolutely. 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 You have 2 overs to. You have 2 pair outs you can hit against like king high. That's villain's just cut off. He doesn't have an ace necessarily, right? You have really high implied odds on a 9. You have future fold equity. You're getting 3-1. You've got to call the flop, if not raise the flop. But usually call is right in theory here. With a spade, you can raise flop a bit more. You can stomach bigger pots, better blockers, more fold equity, etc. But yeah, you've got to call flop with the nut shot there. Absolutely not okay to fold. You don't lose to the flush out cinematic, you only lose to them occasionally. So poker's a game of frequencies, right? You're not always losing to them. Far from it.
You can't lose to both of them.
You can't have your cake of negativity and eat it, as I like to say on this channel. Poker players love to do that. They're like, he's never folding, or he's never calling me on the river, he won't pay me off. It's like, oh, do you bluff every time here then? Like, no, I don't bluff because he's never folding. It's like, all right, so when you don't have it, he's never folding, and when you have it, he's never calling. It's easy to think that way sometimes in this game. Morning, chat regs. Chat regs are here. Chat pro army has assembled. All right, like the sizing here, nice big squeeze, 200 and 300 BBs deep. Check. Okay. Talk me through your decision to check the flop.
Not much. I thought I had such strong blockers to the ace that he very often has a lower pocket pair. I think if he has a flush draw, he's very often going to bet it, but not always. But I just thought like my blockers were like, I need to make him think. I don't know. I just felt like if I'm betting, he's gonna fold almost.
So the critical point for your blockers where they matter is where you're relying heavily on an ace calling you for betting to be the right play. On the flop, when you're just putting in a little bit of money, there's so much other stuff continuing that you're not yet relying heavily on an ace calling you for betting to be the right play.
What are you thinking about? Because I think that 15 was huge. I think he's not calling with, I don't know, 9-8 of spades. But something like that.
I think you can have Jack 10 or 10-9 suited. I think you can have two diamonds, and I don't agree that flush draw will always bet. It will always call. It won't always bet.
They won't always bet, but they will sometimes bet.
Right, but if you could see he had a flush draw, you would bet, not check. If you could see his cards...
Are we 100% sure that it's better?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, I shouldn't say 100%. That's very arrogant of me. If he has a flush draw, and we bet, he will call, and we put money in as a big favourite. If he has a flush draw and we check, I think he'll check like 40% of the time on average, something like that. Maybe 50. Maybe not. Maybe less at these stakes, but it will go check more. The other line I really like against the...
Yeah, but wait. You're not finished. Because if
I'm not thinking about sizing yet either.
If he bets, we're going to raise, and it's more money. So the check raise line is better than the bet call line when he has the flush draw. So you're only focusing on one node of the tree.
Look at me getting coached by Christoph, guys. Look at this. Fair. Yeah, if the bet frequency is relatively high with the flush draw, I agree check raise is better against the flush draw specifically. It depends what sizing you're going to bet as well. If you're only betting like third here, then yeah, probably that's true. So maybe you're right. Let's think about like 10-9, Jack 10, Jacks, 10s, 9s, all of this stuff though, Queens. I think bet's better against that stuff. So
why?
Because it calls and there's many runouts where you make nothing against that hand. I think it calls a small bet if you're betting third pot.
They might call the flop, but not call the turn.
Usually they won't call a turn, no.
Why is the bet on the... I mean, why would they call more the flop than call after check bet?
Well, take 10s, for example. Sometimes the turn is a jack, a queen, a king, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Bet check bet's a reasonable line. I mean, I think if you bet flop, you're going to check turn with these blockers. That would be like the theoretical thing to do. We could make a case for like betting being better against the human, but I think checking turn is the sort of theory line here after you bet flop. And then bet check bet's probably a fine way to go against those hands. I think all in all, there are more hands I like. I didn't think about check raising flop, but check raising flop's really interesting actually. Like I love that you put that on the table here, because if villain is going to bet, like you're really, really deep as well, and if villain's going to bet a set or a draw here, check raise is amazing. Like it's absolutely amazing. And I didn't think about it. And if you bet, I think they're going to under raise. Like I don't think they're going to bluff raise. They're only really going to raise like super strong here. So you might be right that check raise is good. In general, I do think that on very favorable boards, you should just get into the habit of doing a lot of betting, because they aren't incentivized to do much betting here in theory, because this is just good for you, right? It's like an ace high board. I'm wondering now at 300 big blinds whether the fact they have 7s and 8s and you don't is actually really relevant though. So maybe they are meant to do a bit more investment at this stack depth. This is a really complex and confusing spot. You're definitely right that I was jumping the gun with some of my analysis there. You're definitely right about that.
I forgive you. Anyway, I took the minimum, so you're probably right.
No, don't be results oriented. You made a really good case for check raising flop. I think check raising flop's really good at this SPR. You build pot maximally and you trap in as much dead money as you can against a set right now. Like it's got to be pretty good, I think. I think you're right.
Oh, forgot he called us.
Okay, so what do we think his range is like when he checks back flop then?
I think he's got lots of pocket pairs between I mean, queen and 9.
Yeah.
I mean, queen and 6. And he's got some weak aces also. I think like a suited aces, ace deuce to ace 10 or something like that.
Yep, I think that's right. And some draws as well. So I think bet on turn is clearly the best play against that range. And I like your sizing. I think you picked the sizing that under pairs may call, and ace-x will definitely call, draws will definitely call. Yeah, I think this is pretty good with these blockers. If you didn't have such massive amounts of blockers to top pair, I'd want to go bigger, but I think with this hand, this is right. 10 river. And we go for third pot. Yeah, I like this. I think it's like, it's really good because he's going to raise a set of 10s. That's the main thing. And he's going to raise ace 10. You can't really have ace 10 actually because that's a club, but he's going to raise a set of 10s, which is what you need him to do. And you basically never lose, but you block top pair. So your line is perfect because you get jacks to call. Sometimes you give him at least the reason to call jacks. You open the door to spew in case he's there with 9s and is like, I can't call, but I don't think he's that strong either. I'm going to bluff now. And you still allow like worse sets and, you know, 8-7 of hearts to raise just in case villain does have that. So really good river line by you. I like your flop check raise plan at the stack depth with top set. I think it's really, really good. Your turn sizing's perfect. I think you played and thought about this hand better than I did. Actually, in some ways, I'm very impressed by you here. Yeah, very impressed by you here. Good.
Thanks.
I'm going to give you a 9.7 out of 10.
Oh, I might print it and put it on my in my office on the wall. Would you sign it for me, please?
Sure. Björk fanboy, it's probably a good idea to tell him theory first instead of tell him how to max EV, random hands, and range. I think we can do both. I think Christoph's at a level where we can teach theory and we can also practice the skill, the mental muscle of thinking about how to maximize with your hand. I think neglecting that would be a big mistake. You want to be building that all the way through in poker, not just like cramming theory and then doing that at the end. I think that's a mistake, actually. Christoph not only rising in stakes, but also in Pete's scores, and also like catching me when I'm lazy and sloppy with my logic. So, you know, kudos Tim. I'm furious inside right now, but I'm, you know, doing the right thing. 11 a.m. So we've got like another 5-10 minutes. That's never higher than 9.4. Lol. God, what a party pooper. Only a 9.4. Hard luck. Okay, I like 4-bet here. Like this is one of these mixed spots where like you can call or you can 4-bet, but I would lean 4-bet because of just pool in general. They're going to shove a bit too strong, like shove aces too much and probably not shove wide enough with like the 9s or whatever. So I really like 4-bet fold here. Love it. You can go smaller here too, in theory, because like they're more polar. Big blind, small blind, right? So you don't need a big 4-bet to fold
small?
out. Oh, you can go like 19 and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. I love check raise with aces on that hand when they have sets and draws that are just bet calling. I absolutely love it. It's great. Can't stop thinking about check raise. I didn't think about check raise because top set in my head is like, oh, if you check raise, you're blocking top pair. That's not good. But actually, at that stack depth, it's all about the big coolers. It's all about the set over set. Yeah. Lovely line. I mean, I don't think that's a problem for EV. That haste on Twitch says the problem with your line in Ace's hand is you're splitting range on flop and you weaken your c-bet range heavily. Yeah, but like no one is being aggressive there. Like the whole point is that people are playing passively and meekly deep in that sort of big squeezed pot. So we're trying to maximize EV. We should be the ones on the offensive, not worried about balance so much in that spot, I don't think. Like the thing is, you're paying like 10, 11 BB and rake, so if you're even surviving post rake, you're still absolutely bludgeoning the pool, right? And you should therefore be you're the stronger player in most matchups, and you should be trying to maximize. If they play passively versus you shouldn't check. That's generally true, and that's why I didn't want to check. But as we said, when you're deep, if they're betting, if you're blocking top pair, which might check back, and you're not winning much from an under pair anyway, and they are betting draws and sets at high frequency, then check raise is right, even if they overall play passive against the check. They also play passively against the bet. So you're comparing lines to heist. Right, back to this hand. 4-bet, they call, we check, they bet. Okay, so first off, why did you decide to check flop and not bet flop? Because I think most players, 90% of players here, just bet quarter pot with their range.
So yeah, I think it's very close to range bets, but I feel if there is one type of hands to, I mean, I don't think we ever have to range bet on out of position. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I have in my head. So I think that when I'm out of position, I always try to think about what I should not bet. And this hand felt down in the middle of my range. When I picture it, I know in your grade you always have what is the hand that is down in the middle that you cannot bet with, and it felt like it was this one. Maybe my analysis is wrong, but that's how I felt. Like I basically have a better hand than all of his medium to missed hands, and anytime he has a good hand, I'm behind. It felt right in the middle. I might be wrong, but that's how it felt.
So like what that means is that your hand doesn't embark on a line that shovels loads of money into the pot. So like if you bet flop quarter pot and check turn, you're still adhering to the depolarization of this hand. You're not committing a polarization error by betting small on the flop with this hand, because you can be called by some worse. You can deny equity. If villain has eights here, you actually don't mind the fold because you're probably winning nothing from eights here anyway, and it does have 2 outs. So I think betting flop is better slightly, just because it's a spot where people will not bluff you. Check call will be meh, and it will just go check a ton. And sevens is just getting a free shot for no reason, really, if that's the case. So in spots where you have a giant range advantage and a mediocre hand that can bet once small, and villain will be very passive if you check, I prefer just the small bet. And I think you can range bet here. And the reason you can range bet is that there is no hand in your range that commits a polarization mistake by betting small. That's a necessary requirement for range betting being okay.
But what do you think GTO would say here?
I think it would say range bet probably, or bet very, very high frequency. But I don't think check would be like a terrible thing or anything like that. I think check call just, like, it's okay. It's just not a spot people are like that loose with their stabs at all. I don't think it's, like, when I see this bet, I'm not like, okay, say this was blind versus blind single raise pot against the fish, right? And you checked and they bet. I'd be like, great, I've just got them to bet some absolute nonsense sometime. But here, I don't think that's really happening much.
No, I agree. But still, it's quarter pot. They might be bluffing. And when they're not bluffing, I do have some outs.
Yep.
And they might have queen 10.
Yeah, it's a call.
Queen.
But like, I'm using that as an argument to not check in the first place, not as an argument to fold to the bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, this is gross now. It's close. I don't think we can fold, but it's like, ugh.
I think I did fold. I'm not sure. I feel like I should fold. But I don't know. Let's see what I did.
So we need 17%. I'm just wondering whether ace queen is still a reasonable part of their range, or ace 10 or something like that. That's kind of why I'm not.
It just feels that it's a type of size that he would make if he's thinking about it and wants to have a shove where I can basically not fold. And it feels like he's going to shove almost all the time. So the 17% that you're saying, we might not realize it.
I think
we're very likely not to.
I think he's going to shove river a decent amount of the time. I don't think it's anywhere near as high as you're saying. Because I think, like, if he does have ace queen, ace 10, you're just in a pool where people don't really triple that much. I mean, you could say those people don't bet flop or don't double in the first place, which is fair. I do agree that it's like it's shaping up to be a reg, and like the kind of reg that will be shoving river like more often than the average player is shaping up that way. And your ace is kind of meh, and your jack is like not always good. Yeah, I don't think fold's bad here. I think this is
I mean, this size to me, it screams queen 10, like trying to piece together a bit of money. Because, like, what do I have for not shoving river? What hand can I have if I call the turn that he shouldn't shove river? I don't think there is any. If I was slow playing like kings, now I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and you're right that if you call turn fold river here, you will be exploited by someone that's playing aggressively or is never bluffing, like both types of player you don't want to call turn against. And I think you're right that even though it's 17%, there are very few real life ranges or opponents that it's that great to call turn against. You do have some redraw against like the king queens and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, queen 10 suited is a few combos, like it does exist here, but I don't think it's huge part of range. You block jacks, which is their main value hand for betting flop and turn on this node. Like, I don't think it's horrible to call. I think it's close. It sucks. The spot sucks, but I think it's still close at 17%. I think there's enough branches where you call and suck out, or you call and they give up a bluff, or they were just a random that didn't know what to do with tens.
A bluff with what? They call the 4-bet pre-flop.
Ace queen. With 16 combos of ace queen.
Okay.
It's a ton of their range.
Should they call ace queen with all the time here?
Yeah.
Against a 4-bet?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If they don't shove, yeah. And I don't think they will shove. Okay, there's 12 combos of ace queen. Sorry, you have the ace of diamonds. But yeah, I think you're still... Like, I don't think it's bad to call turn. I agree that you usually lose, and I agree it feels bad. I don't think it's that bad in EV terms when you look at the pot odds. But I think this hand's fine. I'd rather bet flop. I'm going to give you a 6. I think it's okay. Right, guys, we're going to wrap this. This has been... It's getting harder to coach you, Christoph. You're getting better. You're beginning to push back. You're like an unruly 4-year-old. I'm going to have to up my game, get more coffee on the go for next week, I think.
Thanks. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, but you're playing some of these hands very well. Yeah, I'm impressed. Chat, what's your verdict overall? What would you say from watching this? Any final thoughts, chat? No.
But I want to say again what I said at the beginning of the stream. I guess lots of people missed it, but really the answer of Sam from last week really resonated to me when I asked him. Someone asked, "How did you get that theoretical knowledge?" And he just said, "By watching Pete's video." It's just, I don't know. It's just yes, they're great. Like I was watching grade 2 episode 5 this week, and it's
the really out of position game. Really yeah.
Yes. And I had a funny hand this week. I thanked you. Like I had pocket 8s, and I think it was a single raise spot. Flop was ace high, and it went check 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 check, and then an 8 come on the turn. It went check check, and then a 9 on the river, and I checked.
Yeah.
And the guy like made a massive overbet, like 500% pot, and I called, and I was like, "Thanks, Pete. I would never have checked that before."
The guy is expecting that to get through 100% of the time against pool, and you're just like, "Oh, I know how to protect my. I know that checking out a position when you can check raise with certain hands is good." Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the long story short, I really recommend. I know it sounds like we discussed that before, but I really recommend your courses.
Yeah,
I think they're amazing at. I mean, if your brain works like me in a way that, to me, it's impossible to. I find it really hard to study a spot and remember everything. If I don't fully grasp the concepts, I will forget it, and that's why for me it's so hard to learn the pre-flop ranges, just because I don't understand everything. So my brain, it's really bad at remembering things just because they are things. And I find that the concepts make everything so much easier, and that even though it takes more time at the table, you can think about why you should do that and try to compare things. And that's why I went down from 4 tables to 2 tables, because at my current level, I can't play well when I play 4 tables. I don't
Yep.
have the time to think about the concepts.
Yep.
If I studied all the spots, then probably I could, but just my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and you're
I
loving
guess-
it, you're curious, you're intrigued, and that's what's necessary with Character Poker School. Like, it's the kind of course that I think the reason people do well that get it is that it already filters for people that are hardworking, conscientious, and curious. And like, I feel it's a bit unfair that it gets a lot of praise. Like, and I think part of that is that I did do a good job of it, and I'm really proud of it. But another part of that is that the people who embark on it are the kinds of people who are going to actually put the work in. I'm so impressed with like their work ethic. They'll be like, it's my 3rd time on grade 1 and I'm making more notes. They understand how to study and what's required and how academic you actually need to be to get the most out of that course. And yeah, it's a good sort of way of filtering for the people who are serious. So thank you for the kind words. We did not plan that, you're right. And, you know, Code Embark 25 is still live for the rest of this month. So check it out by clicking the link in the description if you are going to embark on your poker education. Have a lovely weekend. We'll be back next week